Chad, are we
All right.
live? Can you guys see us and hear us? Looks like we got Creek Seeker Fishing, Raptor Will, Whiskey Rebel, Garrett Limblom, sorry, Catabass Anglers, The Source, Tassie Devil, Scenic City. We got quite a few people in here. I'm here with Any Fins Possible. Some people might know him as Bob. Is that all right if I call you Bob? Or would
Yeah,
you
I'm a
like to be
Bob.
called? All right.
Yeah, Bob's cool. Nice and short. Yeah, welcome in
Well,
everybody. Fishy, thanks for having me. Appreciate
thanks,
the opportunity here.
thanks
Good to
for
see
being
everybody
here.
tonight.
You are a legend. I've been watching you since before I even ever did a YouTube live. I was watching your lives, trying to figure out how it's done. So this is an honor for me. Like when I first started watching you, I was like, "Oh my God, this guy! I got to get on his level," And here I am interviewing you. It's crazy. It's just crazy. All
I
right, I'm
appreciate
going to get
it.
right
I don't
into
feel
it.
that way, but I appreciate it.
I'm going to get right into it. So his channel description says, "Your alternative to clickbait, family-friendly fishing and hunting content. We show you amazing fishing opportunities that surround you, and we do it in the cheap way because money don't grow on trees. Follow us for fishing tips, gear reviews, and tricks of the trade for catching more of everything and ways to have fun while doing it. We cover everything from fishing advice to cooking, camping, survival, and even raising and catching bait. We live on 3 acres where we raise our own fruit and vegetables, farm chickens, and manage a deer herd. We hit it hard and have fun doing it. We fish live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mondays are members only. Please subscribe. We are now full time on YouTube and need your help to continue putting out great content. We upload videos at least every week that we hope you get stoked to hit the water. We are live every Tuesday from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, seasonal/winter in parentheses there, to help answer new anglers' questions and chat. All right. So,
You might
Anyfin,
still take some of that.
Anyfin has, drum roll please, 6,210 subscribers. Is that right? 6,210. Yeah, 6,000. He has over 6,000 subscribers, and he has over 2,568,956 views. I'll say that again: 2,568,956 views. And I bet it's even higher than that because that number never matches what it says in studio. Thanks for joining us, man.
I did not know those numbers, and that's pretty wild. That's cool. I mean, I know my
Yeah.
sub count. I watch my sub count and my member count, but I don't watch the view counts. So that's pretty wild. That's cool. I
Yeah.
didn't know I was over a million, to be honest with you.
And you've posted 2,387 videos. Can you believe
Yeah,
that?
that's why I don't know how many views we have, because I'm just busy on putting out content, try to
Right.
do quality, and just keep pumping it out.
So awesome, man. Big fan. Thank you for doing this again. I'm a little nervous. I've been watching you. You're like a celebrity to me, you know.
I'm nervous too. I feel like I'm back in school, man. I can't do these without a fishing rod in my hand.
All right. So the first question I always start with is, can you tell us a little bit about your YouTube journey? So like where you first got the idea that you wanted to start a YouTube. And I know you used to do like, was it bicycle YouTubing or something like that? Um,
Um, a little bit. I mean, as far as YouTube and this channel, we really didn't even know we started the journey. Um, like we watched a couple big YouTubes. I've got a 11 and a 13-year-old, and when my 11-year-old was maybe 3 or 4, he was he was already watching like I didn't even know what YouTube was. I swear to God, I didn't even know what YouTube was. He was watching like Catch 'em All with Zach gaffing whatever his face was, and a bunch of ridiculous catches down in Florida. And he was like so into it as like a baby. And so we just started filming some of our fishing. And I honestly didn't know other people could see them. Like I thought just my
Oh,
parents
really?
could see these videos. And then because nobody was going to like go watch it, right? Because half of them were
Right.
sideways or upside down. And
Sure.
we didn't know what we were doing. We were just kind of capturing moments. And that was the start of it. I guess. And then from there we just started growing. It became like a joke with some of my like I fished and hunted my whole life, and it was like some of my buddies were like messing around with me. You should do this, you should do that. And it wasn't
Right.
long. Like I literally just kept doing what people asked me to do. And then eventually people were
Okay.
like, you should go live, you should go live. And I'm like, what do you mean? And I just kind of like my whole life, I just go butt backwards into it. I don't know.
I love it, man. That's a very unique answer. We've never got an answer quite like that. You heard it here, guys. Eddie Finn's the accidental YouTuber. Had no clue he
Yeah.
was even doing this. That's awesome, man. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so from the point of just kind of doing it for fun to like save and share with your family to now, Mr. 6,000 subscribers, 2.5 million views. What was that journey like? Like compared to then, how do you feel about it now? Like what are the differences? What have you learned? What works? What doesn't work?
I mean, honestly, so there's with YouTube, you got long videos, right? You got lives and you got shorts. In my mind, that's the three things you got. And every time I listened to people a lot smarter than me, they told me just do one of those and focus on this and focus on that. And I started like paying attention to who was telling me what. And I found out those people all like would fade away after a few months because they got bored. And I kind of made the decision that I'm going to do whatever I want and just have as much fun as I can for like two
Yep.
years and then we'll take a look. Maybe we'll take a look at the analytics then and figure out what we should do more of and less of and try to curb things. But I don't even know how long it's been. It's probably been longer than that. I still refuse to look at analytics. I won't do it.
Been about 5 years since you first made
Yeah.
a YouTube. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's when you first started posting content, but
Yeah. I'm the first. Well, so the first video I ever did got taken down. Um,
oh, really?
yeah. The first video I ever did had almost 1 million views. And again, I didn't even know we did it. It was just a white-tailed deer hunt. And it got taken down. Um, and I was from shooting it to butchering it to gutting to like the whole 9 yards processing it, and it got taken down. And like I said, I didn't even know what was really going on with YouTube. I never read the community standards. Um, so then, like after that, I think our next video was me at the creek with Kevin when he was like, up to my waist fly fishing. He was probably 4 or 5 and then we did some ice fishing videos because my dad wasn't in great health and he wanted to see it. So we started shooting some videos so he could watch from afar. And yeah, I guess it just kind of I don't even know what happened, man. I live busy. I can't stop. I just have to keep moving. There's a big thing you need to know me about that. Like I do come from a background of elite, like cycling. I race professionally, and a lot of it's just because I can't stop, man. My mind doesn't work right. I have to keep moving, constantly try to keep moving to keep my brain quiet. Um, that's a weird answer, but that's the facts.
No, I get it, man. I mean, I don't. 'Cause I'm lazy as crap, so like, I gotta motivate myself to move. So complete opposite, but I still get it.
I can be lazy.
So yeah, how does it feel right now in this moment to be like a successful YouTuber? Like, how does
I
that
don't think
feel?
I am. I don't think I am. It's that like that's still super stressful for me because I feel like I let down my family every day. I feel like I should go out and work a crappy job. If part of me thinks I should go out and work a crappy job, which I did for many years, and make really, good money so they don't have to worry about anything. But then the other part of me says I can't be home for my kids. I don't really want my kids to go through that life cycle. I've lived it for a couple of generations. I'm big on following your passion, having meaning in your life. Um, but yeah, I get every day is stressful because I think I'm not good enough. I think I'm not doing enough for my family. and my wife works really hard. Everyone works really hard, and I feel like, I don't work hard enough. So that's what motivates. That's a big motivation.
And I couldn't agree more that you gotta you gotta set an example for your children of like follow your dreams, be passionate. Like, I don't know how many parents have told their children to follow their dreams while they're working at some factory and working their life away and miserable as heck. It's like,
Yep.
I don't know if do as my father says and not as he does is all that great, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. We've always, my wife and I go way back, all the way back to high school. We've always kind of been like outlaws and, run our own game for sure. And we have a good partnership. So it works for us. But yeah, like I said, it can be stressful.
Right on. Um well, I mean, not right on, but like I get it. I get it. That sounded weird. It's stressful, right on. Yeah, stress. Woo. No, sorry. Um, so the next question is, where are you located, and what bodies of water do you primarily fish?
So we're located in Pennsylvania. I always say, like on a lot of lives, like we're blessed with a diversity of fish, diversity of water. There's water like everywhere. 99% of it just completely sucks. Um, I mean, it really sucks. But there's a lot of water and there's a lot of different fish in. So you always have the ability to go out and fish somewhere else. And for me, like I got ADHD. At least one of my kids is diagnosed with ADHD. They probably both got it. That works good for us, man. We can go out there and fish anywhere and catch minnows and be happy if it's like, a minnow we haven't caught before. So
Right.
I fish like, we have the Schuylkill River is our major river right here. So we can catch quality flathead catfish, quality channels there. It's overfished. It's really overfished. Hey, Julie, where's your whopper flapper? It's super overfished. So fishing here is a little bit different than maybe some places because we're dealing with highly fished areas. And fishing anywhere that's highly fished brings on a whole different set of requirements to be successful. Um, but yeah, we've got tons of ponds, which is why I went out and got a kayak. I do not want to be, God bless chaos. He pulls it off. But like, I don't want to be a kayak live guy. I really don't because it's like, I don't have the right technology. I just like, I can't even show you my 5 pound bass looks like a 2 pound bass because I can't extend my arms out. It's like right here. And then my sunfish looks huge. So, like, I don't want to really be that guy. It's not my cup of tea. But what it does is it opens up all these little weird waterways that we have where you can't even legally run a boat with bigger than a 10 horsepower engine. Like if I bought a
Yeah.
boat, well, I got a boat, but if I bought an engine that I wanted, I'd only be able to fish the Schuylkill, the Beltsville Lake, and like maybe two other lakes in our whole 3 hour radius. That's just
Oh,
not me, man. I'm fishing every
right.
day.
Right. Yeah, you got to change it up. Do you ever like kind of load up the kayak and get to a spot and then get to the shore there and fish from shore after kayaking there?
That's what you're about to see a whole lot of when the kids go back to school. Yeah,
Okay.
that's exactly. I've been, we're out looking like we don't know what we're doing some days on the river, but a lot of those days I'm just taking you all for a big exploratory ride up the river and plotting. I got a map. I'm plotting spots all over the place.
Yep.
And yeah, that's the plan, man. I'm going to be going out all winter long, till freeze up. I'm going to be picking out spots where I can row out to, set up the stove, set up the tent, and fish in the freezing cold, and hopefully still, catch something occasionally that's worth watching.
Thanks for joining, River Pigs.
River pig.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, that's the thing I don't think a lot of people realize about like the next level of fishing, and a big part of fishing is scouting spots, like
Mhm.
seeing where you can get to, looking for good structure. Can I get here? How far do I have to park? How, is it
With
manageable
a
to get there
pig.
from here? Yes, and I was going to get to that. And so the next level is being a YouTube fisherman. Now you got to not just scout spots for good fishing. You got to scout spots for good fishing and good signal. Like it's a whole production, a whole nother side of this that not a lot of people see. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, it's funny
it,
when you do it a lot, finding a spot that has fish and a good signal, and thanks chaos, and no one's there. It's just like it feels like when you catch a 5 pound bass, even though you haven't caught anything, you just know that there's fish, and you look around, you're like, dude, nobody can get here. Like there, you got to be
yes,
crazy to get
yes,
here. It's a great feeling, and that's like a big motivation for me. Like I find a spot like that every once in a while, and it's like, and then I slip up and show the bridge or something, and next thing there's 4 people there the next day, But yeah,
right, right. Hey, Dorothy. Oh yeah, no, it drives me nuts. Like there's spots where I'm like, I know this is a good spot. I know I'll catch fish here, but I don't want to deal with like 20 other people fishing next to me while I'm trying to be on YouTube Live.
yeah, I
I don't know.
can't
It just
can't do
it
it.
weirds me out when there's other people around when I'm live. It just
So
does,
if
you
I
know?
go somewhere and I hear somebody else YouTubing, I'm just like, this is gonna come off wrong, but I'm just like, what a prick. Like I don't want to be that guy. I'm just like I want to interact with the humans, right, that are
Right.
there. But then I'm like, wait, Dorothy Richardson came into my live to see me, and now I got my back turned to her because I'm talking to 88-year-old Ted who walked through the woods to see me, and I don't. How many more days does Ted have? I want to talk to, you know what I mean? See, it's just like
Right.
you don't
Right.
know who to talk to sometimes.
No, and I've had to tell my friends, and I felt bad about it, and I was hoping they wouldn't take it the wrong way, and I think they understood. But I told them because they were like coming to my lives and stuff, and I was like, when I'm on YouTube Live, I kind of don't want to be like I'll go
Yeah,
fishing with you guys still when I'm not live. And if we catch some fish, we'll get some footage for a long form or whatever. But
yeah.
like when I'm fishing with my friends, I want to talk to my friends. When I'm
You
fishing
think
by
people
myself,
would
I'll talk to them live.
you would think people would get that, and they just don't. Like family members, friends, and like, yeah, let's go out fishing. I watch all your lives. This will be so much fun. And you get there, and you're just like, all right, this dude expects me to like chat with him the entire time, and
Yeah.
it's
Well, no, and
it's
I even
tough,
have the
man. It's
issue with
tough.
like strangers. It's a little bit of an annoyance to me. Like strangers will see you doing a live and they'll walk up
Oh,
and they'll talk to you forever.
oh
It's
yeah,
like I'm trying to like their first question is, "Oh, are you doing like YouTube or TikTok live or whatever?" You're like, "Yeah, I'm on YouTube live," and then
right.
they
So,
just yap 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 yap. You're like,
so
"I'm trying to do a
I think
YouTube live
we're
here."
I think we're at the point, at least in like our community and like with our channel, is when that happens, it's kind of funny. Like the
Yeah,
people that
yeah,
like they're like, oh, here we go. Here's one of these peer guys. Let's see what he said. And it,
right,
it
right,
becomes classic. We all listen in because we're like, oh, here we go. And it's almost like its own entertainment. So like I think just
right,
being able to have like the sense to like look in the camera and like wink while you're talking to the dude,
right.
like that way it's like a little gift to the folks who watch you all the time because you're
Well,
like, oh, here we go.
I would worry about that because most of the time, well, half the time, when one of those people talks your ear off when you're on a YouTube live, they usually go and subscribe and then they start watching too. So
Right,
if they go
right.
back and watch that live and you winked at the camera like, "Oh, frick this guy,"
I've done it a couple of times because the one time I was live on this ice fishing lake, and this
yeah,
guy comes down with his son and like 3 dogs, and I was just like, oh, I don't need this right now, And he ended up subscribing. He still watches me all the time, and so now he's always like, you don't mind if I'm here, do you? When he comes down, and I'm like, nah, it's cool.
awesome. Okay, all right, all right. Bit of a tangent. That's good though. I like that. Where were we? So we did your bodies of water. Do you remember the first fish you ever caught? And if not the first fish, do you remember like how far back can you remember to catching a fish?
I fished. I fished my whole life. I remember the first memory I had, and I was probably maybe 4 or something. Like I remember my family talking about fish that I caught, like without even like remembering catching it. Like my dad would tell me about this 22-inch trout I caught,
Yeah.
and like that was like a huge thing to the family. Like, oh my God, and there's pictures of it. I don't remember that day at all. But that's like my first memory of just like, wow, that was really cool. Like everybody was super pumped in my family about that.
Right.
That I guess is my earliest like fishing
You got
memory.
kind of that positive affirmation from your
Yeah.
family about you fishing, and it just kind of reinforced it.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
I mean, I'm sure you'll ask other questions, so I don't want to blow the other question, but that's like a big thing with this channel is like I grew up in a very outdoors family. Like we hunted, fished all the time. Even though my dad had a regular 9 to 5 job, he fished with us. You know, if there was fishing season, like he was a big trout bass guy, carp and cats or trash fish type of guy, you know. But when he'd come home from work and we were on it. You know, his Toyota had the fishing gear in the back 24/7 and off we were going. Um, so I grew up into that. And then, you know, there's a lot of people out there that didn't. So that's a big part of like why we try to stay a little educational without being preachy is because I
right.
just keep pumping into people that like, you know, they got their damn spinning rod upside down, you know, and it's like these guys need help. And it's like, you know, I make fun of them too, but at some point you gotta, when you're in person, it's real easy to be like, yo, dude, you know, I met a guy that was like, he had a nice rod. And he's like, I can't cast it, never cast right. And the little hook thing that you put, I don't even know what the name is. I'm as bad as these guys are, but there's like a little thing that you're supposed to take your hook when you're done fishing and put it there. Well, this dude had
Yeah.
his line right through that, you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah. I did that when I was a kid. I remember thinking,
yeah,
is the line supposed to go through here? What's this thing for? Yeah.
he looked at me like, oh my God, you know, and I was just like,
Right.
so I love giving tips to people like that in person. Like I love doing that stuff. But
I take a pair of needle nose pliers and I pull that thing off every time I get a new pole.
I mean, I like it now that I started doing all these like weird rig ups because some of them we end up with like really long leaders that I'm not a fan of. But
Yeah.
like, then you got the thing that can't go through the eye because you got like a swivel because they say, oh, you got to have 4 foot with a 6 foot rod. And you're like, dude, have you ever tried to transport that daily? Like you're
Right.
retying
Right.
constantly. So I don't
Right.
retie. I'm just trying to get this thing in my car.
That's I have a lot of like short rods and people always joke, but I catch big sturgeon, big flathead, big carp on my like little 4 foot rods all the time.
So
And
that's so
people are always
funny
like,
you say
oh,
that. It's so
huh?
funny you say that because when you start reading up on things, it's like steelhead, oh, 9, 10 foot rod. You go up to where they're catching steelhead, and you with a 9 foot, 10 foot rod, they look at you like you're nuts when you're trying to get through the woods because you're walking
Right.
through 2 miles of sticks and you're like, and they're like, oh, look at this guy, look at Einstein over here. And
Right.
meanwhile, they're out there with like 6 foot rods just slaying them, you know? So
Right.
there's a lot of like geeks out there that, you know, geek, and I use that in a nice term because I steal their info too. But, you know, it just doesn't really work in the real world.
Yeah. Just the other night I was doing a live and I was getting back in. I just caught a flathead and there was a whole bunch of guys that were like unpacking their truck. They all had like these 10 foot, like they were like ocean rods for this little river. I was like, oh, tell me you're trying to catch a catfish and you've never caught a catfish before. Like they think they need the biggest setup that money can
So
buy. You know what I mean?
my son Nolan's in here from Mission Discovery. We went down chasing stripers a couple times and we pulled up next to a truck and he was like, see that reel? He's like, that's like $900. I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, I landed a 43-inch striper on a $25 combo from Walmart. And I'm like, I get that rod's better and that reel's better, but like divorces are expensive. I'm like, come on,
Yeah.
man. Like,
Dude.
come on.
So the majority of my tackle comes from rummage sales,
Mhm.
thrift shop, and Goodwills. Like, and if I can't get what I need from any of those spots, then I'll go to Walmart. Like,
I've got nothing against the good gear. The value's there, they work. But like my point is, you don't need it. It's nice
yeah,
to have, but if you learn how to fight a fish, you learn how the drag works, the right lines, all that stuff goes a really long way of pulling it off, you know, with really cheap gear.
dude, that's why I always preach carp. I love carp because especially like for a novice, right? Maybe not a beginner, but like a novice that's just gotten through like they've caught 1,000 bluegill now, right? Start catching carp because carp, you get a lot of hookups. It's easy to get them on, right?
Yep.
But they're not actually that easy to catch because they got soft mouths and they're very big. They will put up a great fight. It will be
Yep.
exciting. If you try to horse them in, you'll rip the hook right out of their mouth.
Yep.
So it teaches you how to fight a fish. Like
Yeah.
it forces you to learn how to fight. You
That's a
know?
tricky fish for sure. You can't horse them, like you said, you can't horse them in. They do get line shy. They get smart real fast too.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You hit them with method feeder a few times, all of a sudden they know what the method feeder is. They'll shut off from them.
Yep.
Like they get
Yep.
smart.
100%. Yeah, I'm a big carp fan, and I know it's like a little counterculture because a lot of fishing cultures like carp is trash fish, especially the older generations.
Yeah, my dad.
I think it's building momentum. I think carp are catching on.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
All
They
right,
are. I mean, they're well respected in many countries, and we're coming a long way. But
all right, okay. What is the biggest fish you've ever caught? And I think you do a lot of saltwater, so we're gonna give this two categories: biggest freshwater, then biggest saltwater.
well, I guess it's both. This is like a cheating question because I guided for years in Alaska, and
Okay.
I did catch it on a huge spinner. I caught a 75-pound king salmon, 52-inch king. So that was
Oh
my
my
biggest ever.
God.
That was weight wise. I know that's not as big as some folks fish, and I've had some bigger ones on that I've lost, like rays that
No,
I
that's
can't
a
get in.
monster salmon. That
But
is a crazy
that's
salmon.
it's not my favorite catch, but that was my biggest, and I got paid to catch it, so that was pretty cool.
That's winning on top of winning right there, man. And they go fresh and salt, so yeah, that's you covered both categories. One
Yeah, we
fish.
were about 300 miles inland, so he was a saltwater fish that was going upriver to die and lay the eggs, and yeah, we let her go
Right.
to lay those eggs.
Yeah, this probably in November. We got a river that comes out of Lake Michigan,
Mhm.
and I found a spot where in about November the salmon come up to die. They're like zombified. They're like at
Yep,
their last point of life, and they come up into this river. I'm gonna go try and catch some of those for the YouTube this
nice.
November. I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that'd be
But before
awesome.
that, a friend of a friend, my best friend's friend, is supposedly going to take us out on his big boat on Lake Michigan. So maybe we'll catch some fresh, good looking salmon too. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's on the
yeah.
to do list. I haven't actually caught a salmon yet, but I've seen them now. I found a spot where they come to die, so I know I'll get one.
What's funny is I can't catch one worth a lick in New York.
Yeah.
It's totally different approach, totally different lures those guys use. All we did basically was back trolling. Out where we were, we would back troll the boats down the river and drop spinners or egg sacks or pinkies, which is like a big crankbait, and we'd back it into their mouths, and they would slam them. They had no choice; they get irritated and slam them. But out here,
Wow.
it's all casting.
It's all what now?
It's all like casting. A lot of guys are like doing the casting stuff
Oh,
constantly, with like
okay.
big spoons or like, I never got used to that stuff. So I'm trying to learn, but I just don't. I've hooked a couple, I've landed a couple, but just not the same as Alaska by any means. I don't have I think part of the problem is I'm trying to catch them in the mouth.
Yeah.
And apparently,
Go
I
snag them.
mean, I
Just go
read the book.
throw the bucktail and snag that bugger.
I read the book and it says you're supposed to catch them in the mouth, but apparently they have
Yeah.
mouths all over their bodies from what I'm seeing. I don't know.
Right. I mean, with the zombie salmon, it's probably not a big deal because they're gonna die anyway. Like they're there to die. You know what I mean?
Well, they're
So like
going.
making
Well, I
them
don't know
is
about.
kind of
Yeah, I don't know about where you like how they work in your river. Like our river, they're going up to lay eggs, procreate, and then die. They do die after that. So for like
okay.
us, we let the females go so they can go up and lay the eggs because just like humans, you don't need a lot of men or the men do like the fertilization, but it's the females you want to, especially the big ones. The amount of
Right.
eggs that they carry is like way superior to like worrying about like an 18 pounder. You have like a 50-pound plus, you really shouldn't harvest those. The amount of eggs that they're going to lay and get fertilized is
Right.
immense, and you don't want to take that out of the gene pool.
And do they lay eggs in fall or spring?
Well, I think it depends where you're at. Like our like where I was, we were in interior, so I guided on the Houghton River. Um, the first salmon up were the kings, and that was usually around mid-June. and then the chum salmon, dogfish, the dog salmon would come up next. Then the sockeye, then the pinkies, and the last were the silvers. And the silvers would be out of there by like first or second week in September. That was our whole season. It was that condensed. But you know, you go out to the ocean, then it's a whole different ball game. You can catch kings all year long out there.
Yeah, and I suppose the Great Lakes would be completely different too. Like, who knows?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I never really learned about that. I mean, I'm thinking that's one of the things my son might take up because I know there's some really good colleges in the Northeast of the United States, and they
No.
study that stuff like big time. I met a couple of guys that I camped out with while we were up, you know, salmon fishing in Pulaski, and yeah, they know a lot of stuff about that. And I'm like, if I had to go through being a teenager again, I think I'd go up there and learn all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm not positive on this, but I do believe that the University of Wisconsin for state universities is like the best, or maybe one of the best for natural science universities.
Yeah,
Thing.
I would be surprised. They'd have to be with the body, like basically those bodies of lakes up there. You don't have
Yeah,
that in the other 40, let's say, 45 states. You don't have that. So it's
I
pretty
mean, I
special.
say this all the time, but Wisconsin's amazing because the north border of Wisconsin is Lake Superior.
Yeah.
The east border is Lake Michigan. Those are two of the largest lakes on Earth. Freshwater lakes, two of the largest on Earth, are two borders of Wisconsin. And then the left border of Wisconsin is, this is debatable, but I believe the largest river in North America. So, I mean, that's a lot of good water.
Right. Yeah, for
Anyway,
sure.
uh, so yeah. What is your dream fish? Like a fish you haven't caught that you would like to catch someday?
Oh, that's a tough one because we're always looking, you know, we go places when opportunities come, and then we
Mm-hmm.
start looking what lives there. You know, like we made a trip down to Florida in February, and we got 22 new species that we had never caught before. And we kind of picked out six. We're like, oh, you know, there's black tips. Definitely want to catch a black tip. You know, that was really all we had in our mind. Maybe a tilapia, maybe a Mayan cichlid. And then we get down there, we start searching and bumping into people. And like, oh, we're going. I'm like, yep, we never caught one of those. Let's go. So I don't
Right.
really focus so much on like what we haven't caught. I focus on what lives around that area where I am, and it gives me
So
something
you
to
just
do
want to
while
catch
I'm in one
everything.
spot. Yeah, I mean here, I mean we've caught a lot. Unless we get down to the micros, there's not much left in our immediate area.
Okay.
Um, I don't like I've caught walleye when I was a kid, but we count our catches based on our YouTube channel. So I haven't caught a walleye live yet. So that's big on my list.
Interesting. Might have to start doing the same. Like I was saying, because people were in the last week or so, I've caught quite a few really big flatheads. Well, I did actually. The last one was a legit PB, but the one before that, they're like, "Is that your PB?" And I was like, "Well, technically, no, but it is for YouTube because I haven't caught one on YouTube yet." You know,
Yeah,
so I was like, but now
that's
I
how I feel
officially
about
have
the
one.
king. Look, I caught that guiding, and that was the fourth fish we put in the boat over 50 pounds that day. Like we were on them really good at that time, and so I like that was kind of like dumb luck, you know.
Right.
My favorite fish is by far our big muskie that we caught because my son and I, you know, did a lot of research. We spent 25 episodes with the GoPro filming, trying to catch one, and we did the whole thing. And we ended up catching it in our local creek where everybody laughed at us and said there's no muskies in there. But I ride bicycles a lot, and I'm like, I've seen them in there. I know they're in there,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And you know, so that's my favorite fish that we ever caught, you know. And it was I had a 48-inch tape measure, and it was clearly over 48. But like I made the mistake of saying it was 50 on Facebook, and like people were like, oh, you know, there's a whole 50 club, and like
Yeah.
you know, I was just like, so now I just say it was bigger than 48 because like you can see the tape, and it's
Right.
clearly bigger than the tape. So
Well, that's like so the flathead I caught 2 days ago. I couldn't weigh it on the scale. I bought a brand new scale that day, and
yeah,
it only went to 50 pounds. And like, but I couldn't get the mouth clip to hold in it for nothing. Like every
right.
time I tried to lift the scale, it just ripped right out. So I'm
Yeah,
like,
so I
is
did
it
a net, like I got to do the net, right? So you just like tear out the whatever. If the net's a pound 50, you should be able to hit tear, and it's like it'll subtract a pound 50 from the fish. That's what I don't even hook them to the mouths. I just keep them in the net and hold them up that way. But
Well,
I
and you
can't
have to
do that
buy
in
a
a
bigger
kayak,
net
which I learned the other day.
because the thing about that fish is only its head would fit in my net. I couldn't get any of the body in the net.
Good
I
Lord.
pulled it up by the head. It was just it had its head planted and its head took up like the whole net. I pulled up, so
And
yeah,
you know,
I wasn't ready.
I'm not big on weighing fish. Like I'm not, because
Yeah.
I see what people say their fish weigh on, like, and I'm not saying YouTube. I'm saying more like Facebook, and like Fish
Mhm.
Brain's the worst. And you're like, come on,
Yeah.
man. Like, so like I don't really care if I say it's a 4 pounder or a 3 pound, because I'm thinking that person's thinking, I don't know that. Like I didn't see you certify your scale. You know what I mean? And to
Right,
me,
right.
it deepens the experience almost to me. Like I'm like, that's a special fish to me because of the experience or what have you. Like my
Right.
favorite fish aren't even my biggest fish. It's more about like, the time that like the day that we had. And a lot of it comes down, especially on the fish that we harvest, like the party we had afterwards and like the fish fry we had. That's
Sure.
the stuff that makes like they're the days you're going to remember when you get old and can't do nothing.
See, my whole life, I never weighed fish. I've always just the most I do is get the inches, and then you can
Yeah.
like put in a Google search to
Yeah.
get approximate
Inch and
weight for
girth. That's
inches.
what Nolan tells me. It's the best way to do it. It's more accurate half the time because it's not as arguable, right?
Right.
There's the fish. It's 52 inches. It's got a healthy girth. You can measure the girth, but it's going to be between this and this. You know what I mean?
Right.
If it's skinny, it's a lot easier to prove than a scale. Because I mean,
Yeah.
see some fish, and it's like, all right, cool. I guess that's 30. That's 40. I mean, like my biggest flathead bottomed out my 50-pound scale. So I say it was probably like between 50 and 60. But who knows what that
You'll never
scale?
know.
You'll never know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No. And that's the. I mean, that is the thing that sucks because it's like I'm sitting here, and then like when I Googled it, because it was 40 and a half inches, this flathead. And then when
Hmm.
I Googled it, it said it was only like 30 pounds. But then seen it, City said he held the picture up and like there's no I this fish was so heavy I couldn't hold it out and do the trick
Dude,
where you make it look big on camera. I was belly to belly with this fish, right? I was belly because
that's
that was
what.
the only way I could hold it.
Yeah, I do the
And he
same thing
said,
with my salmon. The salmon, I have it crouched on my lap, and I'm like, you got to
yeah,
understand. I was building my cabin at that time, lifting bags of sacrete, 95 pounds, tossing them around like they were nothing. Like that's what the concrete bags were weighing at the time. And that fish, I could not hold out in front of me. I held it like a bag of sacrete. So like I knew immediately it was like approaching that amount. You know what I mean?
right.
And it was the same thing. Like if you hold a fish, that's why I was joking
Well,
about the kayak. You hold a fish into you and you hold it out. It's like a 20-pound difference on a good fish. And then you count
yeah,
eggs. Eggs is another 10 pounds. Did it have eggs? Did it not have eggs?
right, right. Well, and like so with this, I also threw it on my shoulder for a little bit. And I used to roof houses, and I was like, "This feels like two bundles of shingles." You know what
You're right.
I mean?
And it just ends up frustrating you when like you get some hater saying it's not. So that's why I kind of like the only reason I weigh fish and measure fish is it's fun for chat. Chat gets
Yeah,
engaged. And
yeah,
I always say, like almost every single time before I weigh, this is just for fun. I don't want to hear crap about my scale. I don't know if it's accurate. And I do. I weigh my 10-pound barbell all the time to make sure it's accurate. But
yeah.
I'd rather err on the side of like, hey, I don't know if this is accurate or not. This is just for
Right.
fun. And in fact, if it's off, if you watch my channel, the more often, then you'll know it's off by maybe this or that, and you'll have a better chance to win.
That's fair. That is fair. All right, I got this right. I got to stop talking about myself. It's supposed to be about the guests. I'm still.
Well, that's
It's
all right.
3 days later. I'm still obsessed with that fish. I can't get it out of my head. So we did the dream fish. So what is your this is a two-part question kind of, although it usually ends up being the same answer. What is your favorite fish to catch? And what fish are you best at catching?
It's really hard to. I mean, best fish. I feel like I can fish creeks pretty much better than anyone I've come. Maybe except for Jimmy. Jimmy, one of my members, Jimmy, is freaking ridiculous. he can pull a fish out of a creek in a desert. But I'm really good at catching small fish, like whether they're sunfish, small smallies, small largemouth, anything up to like maybe 2 pounds. And that's I'm really good at doing that. I don't want to be good at that, but like I'm good at that.
Right.
I hope my favorite fish to catch. I mean, it's always like the next one I'm after. I like to go after something that I haven't caught because I enjoy learning about them and like the whole hunt of them and trying to learn where they live and to do something new. I feel like I gotta kind of say carp though. Like a piece of me, it just keeps coming back to carp. There's something special about carp that I really enjoy. And I think because of it's kind of like the black sheep, it's the hated trash fish that I grew up with.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
just I feel like, I've worked in like a lot of financials and you talk about stocks, you'll talk about like, oh, that's undervalued. The carp is by far the most undervalued fish in the United States. Like we're in the gold ages of catching carp right now. You can go to the
Yeah.
river and catch monster carp. They will not be around in another 10 years. Once everyone realizes how fun they are to catch,
Wow.
they're going to be gone. The big ones are going to be gone. That's just my
I
personal opinion.
I agree 200%. I am with you all the way. Like carp are awesome, man. They really are, and they are the black sheep. And yeah, you said it perfect. And actually that scares me. Like now I don't want them to catch on. Maybe we should stop talking about it.
Right. Yeah.
Because you see it over in like Europe, it's like really hard to catch carp over there. Like if you're
I
good at
always
catching
joke.
carp.
I always joke because people come into my live, especially folks from the UK, and they'll be like, they're coming from the background of like over there, you catch them. They know their name, like they're some of these ponds are they're like, oh, there's 11 carp in there. They know what's in there. And
Yeah.
some of them I've seen they actually have to like medicate if they come up, they catch something with a wound, they carry like a first aid kit. And I'm
Yeah.
like, and then they look at me like I should have spent another $100 for the special net, $200 for the hammock. I'm like, you got to understand, like, over here they throw them in the woods, man. I'm like, I'm very progressive for an American carp fisherman,
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
I'm not dropping
Yeah,
200 bucks for a hammock.
I came across the site and I was so mad, and I'm sure I'm assuming the fisherman had no clue what it actually was. He probably thought it was an Asian carp, but there was a big buffalo carp on the side of the river. And like, I don't even know if I should say this because it gets me so mad. Like they popped out its eye and put a hot dog in its eye socket for some reason and then left it there. I was like, why? Why?
Yeah,
Like,
you're
it's
lucky my
like,
son. You're lucky my son's not here. He gets fired up because we bumped into some folks who were killing snakeheads. Right? They had three on the
yeah,
bank. Two of the
yeah.
three were both in.
That's yeah,
Two of the three were
uneducated
both in.
fishermen. Yeah, both internationalized. And
Yep.
actually, I so when I've done, I don't know if you've seen the Cast Network episodes they do at the end of the month, every month. I've done 3 episodes now. Anyway, that question's come up twice in 2 of the 3 Cast Network things I've come across. Everyone was like, "Oh, aren't bowfin and snakehead the same?" I'm like, "No, no. If you Google images of them, they look very definitively different. Like if you just do a touch of research, you will be able to tell the difference easily."
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, and I just think
Um,
it comes down to always erring to the side and not killing the thing if you don't know what it is. You know what I mean?
right, right.
Like, I mean, I'm in Pennsylvania. You don't legally have to kill them. And you say that on Facebook, you'll have, 500 people telling you you're dead wrong and, you should probably be, done away with, but we don't have to kill them. You just can't move them. You can let them go in the same body of water. I'm like, sorry, the government's never going to tell me I have to like unalive something. Sorry, I'm just never going to
Right,
go with that.
right.
If I think it's best
Mandatory murder.
I'll do it. I mean, I got a best friend who's all into like, but a naturalist, I guess. And for years he was telling me, oh, you got to kill carp. You got to kill carp. Well, now carp are naturalized. The other fine.
Mhm.
No, the flatheads. Got to kill the flatheads. They eat all the channels. I'm like, yeah, big time. Got to get rid of them here. Well, the flathead are here. The snakeheads are now here. The carp are here. The snakeheads are the new hated one. Meanwhile, we're still
Yeah.
catching all the other species that we've been catching. And I look at my folks in Florida because it's like that's the progression. Snakeheads were going to wipe out the fisheries. They're catching
Yeah.
giant bass right next to them. So
Yeah.
I'm just it's a big fear thing, and it's legit. They're worried about it, but more times than not, nature adjusts. And like around here, the bass are feeding on the baby carp, like
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's why
Yep.
they become naturalized. It eventually fits in, and you're fighting a
Yep.
losing battle. I mean, some of our rivers are so polluted. The only cool thing you're ever going to catch in it is a flathead or a snakehead, and these people are
Yep.
tossing them up on the side.
That's like I saw this documentary about the Wells catfish in Europe. And so there were
Mhm.
some riverways that were so polluted, and yet they were worried about these Wells catfish that would have been invasive to those riverways. But when they got in there, they found out this is literally the only fish that can survive in our riverways because it's so polluted. So now it's
So,
turning into like a tourist thing, like come catch these Wells catfish in these polluted rivers. You know what I
So
mean?
it's funny. It's like where we caught our big snakehead like a month, 2 months ago now. I'm like, if they really want to get rid of their snakeheads, just clean the waterway up because they are delicious. We sell them where I work. We sell them for like $40 a pound. That's a
Wow.
good. They're good eating fish. We get them like from farm and whatever, over in Asia.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good eating fish. Like, if you want to do away with something, just clean the water and make sure people understand how tasty they are. Trust me, around Philly, those things will disappear real fast.
Right. All right. Okay. Where are we now? Let's see. Okay. So between your favorite and the ones you're best at, what are your techniques for catching them?
I'll do for the creek fishing for my little fish. I mean, you probably the folks who watch me know exactly what I'm going to say. Trout magnet, 1/64th jig, crappy man jig, same deal. Like anything about 1/64th, even 1/32nd, maybe depending on the current. And I will usually my go-to has always been a Berkeley power worm. You
Okay.
know, they're just deadly. It's just a little thing, but as long as you're using the right rod, the right line, you're going to catch. I mean, I've caught my PB rainbow. I caught a 7 pound, I think seven
What
pound
color?
rainbow trout on that setup. I caught my PB 7.5 pound largemouth on that setup by accident. 4 pound line, 2 pound line. Sometimes I'll throw a little paddle tail on it, like
Yeah.
a 2 inch paddle tail, something like that. But and then walking around the creeks, like today, we did a live, and all we did was took the jig, the 1/32nd, and I had a 1/64th again, and we walked around and caught helgamites and crayfish, and we slayed. We caught 8 species
What's a
today.
Helgermite?
It's like a little micro invertebrate that lives on the rocks and current around here. It's smallmouth bass candy, but everything eats them. They have huge pinchers on the front, nasty little critters. They're about that big. You catch them and a hook through them. As soon as it hits the water, everything's eating them because
Is
they're
it
on the
is
rock.
it
So it's
like a
not
giant water
it's not
beetle?
something. It's not really a beetle. It's a soft body. The head's real strong, and you know, I should have my
Interesting.
wife down. She can tell you exactly what it is. She's the scientist, but it's a critter that'll tear you up. You got to know how to catch it and how to hold them. But yeah, they're smallmouth bass candy for sure. But yeah, basically we walk around the creeks just catching bait, and then we always have a couple power worms in our vest or a couple crappy man little any type of soft plastic like minnow.
Um,
Pair them up.
what color? What color power bait worm?
My favorite's red. They all work pretty good in different conditions, but I feel for me red works the best.
I might have to try it. So we've got a couple little ponds in my town. They actually stock with little tiny rainbow trout,
Mhm.
and I can't catch them, man. I can't catch them. I can catch every big fish in Wisconsin, but man, and I can go catch steelhead out in Lake Michigan in the
Yeah.
rivers there, but I can't catch these little tiny stocked rainbow trout for the life of me, and they drive me.
Well, I'll
I
tell
caught
you,
one accident when I was bluegill fishing,
I was going to
but
say, if that setup doesn't work, my other go-to is a spinning rod with a little tiny trout magnet bobber, like the tiniest little bobber, and then
uh-huh.
maybe 2 feet down to a fly. And
Well, see, and the problem, part of the problem is there's also tons of bluegill in these ponds. So,
right,
like a lot of the baits you
okay,
might use to target trout, you're just catching bluegill nonstop. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So
yeah.
it's like I got to try and figure out something that bluegill won't eat, but trout will eat. I don't know.
That's a tough one. I mean, you can always go with the power bait, but I'm not a fan of that unless you're going to eat the catch because they tend to swallow it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
bluegills
I would
rarely
eat
eat
it.
it.
If I caught some stock trout out of that pond, I'd eat them.
Yeah.
Because I do love trout.
I try a size 10 hook and a little power egg from Power Bait.
Okay.
But some people won't eat it as often, at least around here, and the trout will eat them.
Could I target the trout at night when the bluegill aren't biting? Would the trout bite at night?
Not rainbows. Browns will. If there's browns in there, you can catch them all night long. The bows kind of shut down a little bit, just like the bluegills.
What about if I just wait till it's like a lot colder, like late
Yeah, that
fall
would
maybe?
work. Yeah, the sunnies will shut off first, and you can catch the trout a lot colder for sure.
All right, very good. So yeah, that was the creek fishing go-to is a little jig, a little power bait. Um, then what was the favorite for your favorite fish that you target?
The
Carp,
favorite,
right? Your favorite's carp.
favorite
So
fish.
how do you target carp?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, I like so many, like I'm ADHD when it comes to fishing. Like I told my son today, we creek fish, and I'm like, this is my favorite type of fishing. I think I say it like every day. So it was just nice to get out and walk, but I got a messed up foot. So now I'm like, all right, now my foot's going to be all swollen tomorrow. So I'm not going to creek fish tomorrow. I'm going to be doing something else and that'll be like, I'm like, oh, that was awesome. That's what I love the most.
Right. All right. So what's your go-to carp targeting tactic?
I am still a method feeder and hair rig guy, so that's my go-to. The method feeder, make my own pack bait, and you stick it on that method feeder, which is just a weight, like a plastic weight with some ribs to help that pack bait hold, and then
Right.
maybe like 12-inch leader down to the hair rig. And the hair rig is basically it's a loop of string off the back of the hook, so the bait's not on the actual hook. So, like you were talking about catching sunfish when targeting trout, around here, if you put that corn on the hook, you're going to catch bluegill, and you're going to have other fish constantly like nipping at it, right? And to catch a
Mm-hmm.
carp, you want that to sit there for like half an hour or even an hour and still be there. So when you put that fake corn on that hair loop on the loop, um, very few, turtles will occasionally take it off, but usually it's there. Even after the pack bait gets all eaten, that little bait is still there, and that's what you want if you're carp fishing. You got to be patient for them.
Right.
Some people always, like a lot of people always say, like you don't need that. You can just cast a piece of corn out, and yeah, piece of corn will definitely catch a carp. But like over the years, what I've learned is the method feeder around PA anyway. It's a legal way to chum, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you're getting a lot of bait in an area. So when you do hook a carp, everything gets scared out, right? But these carp now know that there's a bed of food out there. They're more likely, so you're more likely to catch numbers, is what I'm saying. You're more likely
Yeah.
to have a day where you catch 5 carp instead of saying, oh, I got one. But yeah, corn definitely works. Straight corn on a size 6 hook definitely works. But I think for me, the method feeder definitely works better.
What type of hook? You said number 6.
I
Are we
use
talking
anywhere from
circle or are we
twos
say
to
again?
8. Anywhere from size 2 up to 8. I've been doing a lot of 2s because we got some pretty good carp, like 15 to 40 pounds, and we have a lot of structure. So we have to stop them pretty quick. And like you were talking about earlier, you could rip them out of the mouth. So the size 2, you can find some thicker hooks. So you miss some hook sets because they don't go in as easy, but I find they don't come out as fast, especially when I'm using 30-pound line and I'm really pulling on them. So I tend to go to the bigger hook because I want to catch a monster. I've caught some big carp and I've lost some monsters. I want to land some of these big ones.
Yeah, yeah. Now, are you using like Aberdeen bait holders or circles for carp?
They're basically a circle. I would call them a circle hook. You're not hook setting at all. They're on.
Right, right.
Yeah, they're not they're more like an octopus, but they are self-setting.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Do you have any fishing superstitions or like things that you think bring you good luck or things that you think will bring bad luck?
Yeah. for sure. If we take a stringer, if we take a net, if we take a scale, if we forget something, I know we're gonna catch something good. Like that's like my kids know, like we all the time. Like if I got everything and we have a good signal, I'm like, we're not gonna catch any fish. I like anytime the signals, I'm like, it ain't gonna happen. And I get to a spot that's just absolutely perfect, and they're like, "Oh, the signal's choppy." I'm like, "Yeah, we're gonna catch a good one right here."
You know,
It's I don't know.
no, I agree. I got the same thing, especially with the net, especially with the net. But yeah, it's just like in general, like if you forget stuff that you're gonna need, then you catch the big fish. But if you
Yeah,
have everything, skunk's coming.
yeah,
If you're
for
fully
sure.
prepared, then you will not catch fish. Yeah, I'm with you. Um, now we already did the dream fish. Do you have any unbelievable or crazy fishing stories?
Oh, I got plenty of good stories from my guiding days. I mean, um, I don't know. I mean, there's the only one that keeps coming to my head is just surviving this hailstorm with like softball size hail in Alaska, where I had to take the boat up into like a gravel bank, and we had to hide under the boat because like it just dented it all up. I mean, literally like softball hail. And this guy was like a brain surgeon from New York that I was guiding flipped out on me. He's like, I almost died out here. And he said, you should check the weather. And I was like, there's no weather here. Like, it's me and you. And the 300-mile, they call it the bowl. I'm like,
Yeah,
it's like, who cares about us? Like, they forecast the weather over here, they forecast the weather over here. The weather happens to us. We're the only idiots out here. They're not going to have a whole TV network and be like, oh, yeah, and out in Bob's cabin, the weather's going to do this. I'm like, we look at the sky, man, and we make a judgment call and we run with it. That was
right.
like, I don't know, that one always pops. I've had so many crazy experiences.
So wait, so you got hailed on? Did you find somewhere to take cover? Like, tell the full story. What?
Yeah,
Break it
so
down.
I don't remember all of it. I mean, we were like every day I did the same thing. I back trolled the Hulett in the river. So we were out on the boat and we just watched the clouds come in. And it was like I didn't want to, go crazy. It's all willow. There's no big trees. There's no really take cover out there. It's just wide open. They call it the bowl. You can look 360 around and see snow-covered mountains all year long. But where we are, it's just all swamp, blueberries, willow, and the Hulett in the river going right through the middle of it. So we saw the clouds coming in, and I mean, we got caught in a lot of storms, so we didn't run for cover. It was just like, oh, it's going to rain. It was like in the 70s. It was a warm day, which is hot up there, but it was like in the 70s. And, it started like blowing, and I'm like, oh, we should take cover. He didn't want to take cover. And it was like, so we were already late and I'm like, no, we're taking cover. I pulled the boat up, dropped the 40 horsepower engine off the back of it. I dragged this thing up into the willows and I flipped it over, and the hail just, I mean, we would have been killed for sure. So we got under the boat and he was still pissed off at me, but that's how it goes. I always said if they got off the float plane in khakis, it was going to be a long week. That's what I tell my wife.
Yeah.
I would
Brain
tell them,
surgeon.
I gave them a list to bring. Step one was 100% Ben's DEET. If you show up with anything but 100% Ben's DEET, I'm going to sell it to you for $50 on day two because you're going to buy it.
Yeah. All right. All right. So you saved the brain surgeon in a hailstorm. I like it. Who's the smart guy now,
That's right. And then, yeah, the same dude, it was awkward. The same dude got stuck with us for 4 days because we got fog, came in, and you couldn't get out. And he just kept
huh?
telling me all these surgeries he had. And I'm like, so after that, and this is why I remember that so well, because after that, every time we do a trade show, like my wife would be like, just take their money. I would like scare people away. And I'm like, you want to know what's really bad? The outhouse. Like, where do you see that? Because I didn't want anyone like that ever again.
Just take their money. That's awesome. All right, you kind of already touched on this, but I'm gonna ask you again, just cause. What motivates you to keep going with your YouTube, with your fishing, all of it?
I mean, I think my younger son wants to, like, that's what he loves to do. And he's he's a lot like I am. I can't see. He'll never work an office job. He will be in the middle of Alaska, and this is going to sound wrong, but true Alaskans would probably get this. He's either going to be in jail or he's going to be in the middle of Alaska. Like he's a wild kid that doesn't exist anymore, and there's just not a lot of vocations like that. So he's going to be a guide. He's going to be on a ship. He's going to do something like that. Maybe he gets into the trades. That's like the calmest thing he could do. But we still own our guiding business in Alaska. And I could live a lot more comfortably if we sold that business because it's a lot of money just to keep the licenses up and the insurance going on it. But I keep it all up because there's only 2 hunting game units in each area, and we got one of them. So we spent a lot of money for that. And he's 11, but in 5 years, he'll be legally allowed to guide up there. You got to be 16. So I want that have that opportunity. If he wants to do it, we'll go back up and, make a go of it.
So if I'm reading between the lines here, is Anyfin's Possible going to be a legacy channel where, you're going to grow it, and when you're done with it, you're going to pass it down to your son, and he's going to keep it going?
I really don't even know how that would work because we could probably make more money guiding up there in 2 weeks than I will ever make on YouTube unless we really blow up. And that's one of the things I look at YouTube. It's like free publicity. It's free advertisement. So when we switch and say, hey, we're going to Alaska, we're guiding now, everyone knows who we are. We don't have to go sit in a trade show for 10 days eating bad food. And, we don't have to ever do that stuff. We'll have people who know what we are. They can see the videos. And, that's not I don't really plan stuff out like that. I just kind of follow my passion and just let it kind of come full circle if it's going to come full circle, I don't know. I don't plan too much. I just do what I love and I try to stick to it and keep working hard at it.
Just thinking out loud, but time is a force multiplier though. You're at 6,000 now, but by the time your son's old enough to take over it, you could be at 60,000 or 100,000 or 1,000,000. You know what I mean? And then it's real. But but I get you. I take things one day at a time myself.
Right.
I try not to get. Everyone dreams, but I'm not trying to sit here in this reality of I'm gonna get rich and famous off YouTube or whatever. I'm doing it because it's fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And if it pans out, cool. If it doesn't, it was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, PA, just guiding in Alaska sounds like a dream. What are you waiting for? I guided up there for a decade, and it was a dream. We went up there because we couldn't have kids, and then we had kids. So where we were in Alaska was no place to raise kids. There was no roads, there's no nothing. We're 40 miles from an Inuit Eskimo village with 12 people living in it that hate us, that hate anyone from the lower 48. So it was not a great environment to be in outside of our property and outside of our guiding. I've come a long way. I love those folks now. We've really kind of come full circle, but they are, they shot the first summer guiding, they shot up my boat. They came up and shot holes through it. It's a whole other world. Oh yeah, they don't want us in the river. That's their refrigerator. That's what they tell you're in my refrigerator. They don't fit. They run the nets and they look at us like, what are you guys doing here? And I've come kind of full circle. I totally get it now. And the big problem, I don't want to go, I could do a whole episode on Inuit culture up there. The biggest problem is versus the elders versus their children. Their children are obsessed with our culture. Our culture doesn't work up there though, because there's the economy's not there for it. They don't understand that their dad can go, their dad and their elders will go out into the blueberry bushes and pick a gallon of blueberries over 3 days and come home. The kids are like, we can go to town and get them for $2. But the fact is they don't got $2. There is no, and the cities are different, but I'm talking out in the bush. Other than the oil stipends that they get, which is just drives them all nuts because they're all literally in debt because the grocery store in the villages allow you to pay up to what you are going to get in from the government. So they're all in debt. Every single one of them is in debt. They can't do what they want. They got to do what, the grocery store tells them they got to go do.
Hey. We have, no, I do have one more question. and then we'll get to questions from the chat.
Sounds good.
Do you have any? Do you now, or have you ever? And I already know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Any pet fish?
Pet fish?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. I'd have to
Let's
take
talk about it.
inventory. Some pet fish eat other pet fish, so it's a wild west in our house. But we've got a big black bullhead catfish. We've got bluegill. We've got a white sucker. All these guys were supposed to be bait that turned into pets. Then we've got like tetras. We've got, well, an axolotl is not a fish, but and then we have, bait tanks as well. A bunch of shiners and bluegills in those that are still bait, but that's usually how they become pets.
Right. Is it, if it's difficult, we won't do it. But if you could we get a tour of your pet fish?
I'd have to go upstairs. I don't think it's going to work.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, I'd have to turn
No
the
problem.
lights on. I'm hiding in the basement because everyone's asleep.
Yeah,
And
I'm doing
it's not,
the same.
yeah, it won't be great coverage. My phone's probably, it's at 17%. So yeah, I don't think that would work.
No problem. We're already over an hour. Let's release it to the chat. Oh wait, no, I do have one more question.
Okay.
And this, if you could fish anyone with anyone at any point in time, anywhere in the world, who would it be and where would you go? So you got like a time machine, you can travel time, all that. You could do a historical figure, you could do, anything.
That's pretty cool. Probably my grandpa. Yeah, my grandpa. Man, he was like a horrible fisherman. I have a lot of his gear, and man, it's just
Yeah.
the worst collection of lures you've ever seen. you know, man, he was like the call. He lived to like 102, and he went to he fought in World War II. He went to Korea, so like fishing was just a like release. He worked 30-year career. He worked another 30-year career. And then when I was in high school, we worked together at a hardware store. He was still working. He worked right up to he was 99.
Wow.
So his fishing trips, he would still take us out fishing and take us out hunting. He never shot a deer in his life. He was the worst hunter and one of the worst fishermen I've ever seen. But I'd like to still go fishing with him. It was always a good time.
Oh, absolutely. Where would you take Grandpa? Where would you and Grandpa go fishing?
Just a local creek, nothing crazy. Just a local creek,
Right.
Yeah.
All right, now we're releasing the questions to the chat, and the first one comes from All Things Country.
Oh Lord.
And he wants to know, may I ask any Finns what his favorite rod holders are?
I mean, my favorite rod holders are the $2 ones you get at Walmart. They are awesome. They're this big. No, I'm just kidding. They suck. Brad uses them. I used to like him. He's giving me crap because I did a video because I used them because I like cheap stuff, right? So I did a video showing how good they were. And I had huge, 30, 40-pound flatheads just wailing on rods while I didn't even know what was going on. And they didn't move, but they still suck because after a while they bend. And so then double hook angling, Dave, he sent me 2 free ones like the next day. And every time I use those rod holders, Brad has to bother me about it because they're superior. That's all I'm going to say.
The next question comes from Tatsy Devil. Do you prefer salt or freshwater fishing?
Man, I'm saltwater. I am saltwater curious. I don't know. I'm starting to switch, I think. I live 2 hours from saltwater, so I hate to say that, but yeah, I'm starting to look at boats. Yeah.
Well, okay. Why do you think you're making the switch? Like, why is saltwater better than freshwater? Is it just because it's new and novel, or
my whole family likes it? My whole family likes the way we do it. We don't go out on boats. We bank fish, and what we'll do is we'll always fish, and we're crabbing, and we're netting, we're cast netting. It's illegal to cast net in PA, so you can't cast net anywhere here, but on the ocean you can. So the whole experience of going out there, throwing the cast net, looking for shells, bait fishing, crabbing, and fish. There's so much going on that all four members of our family like it. Then they can go jump in the ocean while we're surf fishing if they want. It's just like it's just a better fit for us. It's just, and
Right
you
on.
get a lot of, like, we're filling the freezer up with really nice, high quality fish. And there's some good freshwater fish, but we're catching some nice saltwater fish, and they're good. We fish to eat. We really do.
Come on, chat. Produce some questions for us. I'll look and see if there's maybe some I missed.
Music questions. I'm a grunge baby. I mean, I like all types of music, but I was big into like Nirvana and the whole grunge movement in the 90s.
Like hip hop and alternative.
And when you're coming back to Florida, dude, I don't even want to answer that. I want to come down there right now.
All right. It's Just Ed asks, what's your favorite fish to eat?
That's tough because we eat a lot of fish. We like that's kind of our favorite thing to do. We got trash fish playlists, catch and cook playlists, fish and game recipes. We will catch anything, golden shiners, we'll eat minnows. Like we test. I don't take anyone's word for it. We're gonna go test it and try it out ourselves. Um, I mean, I don't really have a favorite. My favorite freshwater fish, I'll say, is walleye. Like no comparison. There's some
Yeah.
close yellow perch, but I'll say walleye. But when it comes to saltwater, it's a really tough call. Bluefish, ceviche style, is way up there. There's just something about that when I make it. Other methods, it's still really good, but it's not my favorite. But man, I love ceviche style bluefish. The black drum is surprisingly up there. I like the firmness. I'm starting to find some recipes where it's like, really suits it well. The last recipe I did a southern seafood boil, like a crab boil, but
Yeah.
I can't eat shellfish, so I substituted the black drum in there, and
Okay.
it's sort of firm and it holds in its shape, and it cubed it up. So like if you're cubing it, you want it to stay a cube because when you're doing the like boil, you've got the potatoes, everything's kind of chunked, the sausage, and you want it to be that, the consistency, and it holds up really well and it's firm. It was good.
Sounds delicious. Silly Salmon asks if you can only use artificial or live bait, we'll say for the rest of your life. You get to choose one. Which way are you going?
Oh, artificial trout magnet and a red power worm.
Okay. Ancient Artifishing asks if there's one river you could fish on and all expense paid trip, which one would it be?
Amazon.
The Amazon, right on.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over there and catch some crazy fish. My son, that's where my son wants to go, and he's just like, I guided for years before they were born, so I had a whole idea of what I wanted to do. And by the time I came back and raised kids for 10 years, I was kind of burned out because fishing here sucks compared to Alaska. So I'm like, it took me a while to get back into it.
Crappie Man Jigs says, I've heard whopper ploppers plop. Is that true?
Well, yeah.
You can always count on Turner for a serious question.
Yeah. Hard hitting question.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Wells catfish is up high on the list too.
Yeah.
Arapaima, my son's favorite fish is an arapaima. So I'm going to tell you a quick story. We have this music festival, Philly Folk Fest, been going on for like 60 years, happens to take place in the farm field right across the street from our house. So every year there's all these like vendors and hipsters running around this, huge farm. And there's, we walk around, we get free tickets, we go to all the tents. And there's this dude that's an artist that gets artwork that's handmade from the Amazon tribes, right? So he's got fish hanging up all over the place. My son was probably 5. This was years ago. And he walks in the tent and he picks up an arapaima right away. And he's like, "Oh, this is so cool." And the guy's like, I'll give that to you if you can tell me what kind of fish that is. And my son's like, "Duh, arapaima." So the guy had to give it to him. So he's been in
Nice.
the fishing like that hardcore. Like I still think he's full of crap, and I fact check him, and every time he's right. Like I still can't understand how he knows so much about fish and fishing. And he's only 11
That's
now.
that's exactly how I was when I was a little kid. When I was a little kid, like you know how in school you got to go to the library every day and like pick a book and bring it
Mhm.
back and all that. It was, I mean, it was nature inclusive. It wasn't just fishing, but
Yeah.
like every fish, every reptile, every amphibian, like that's all I read was nonstop fact factual books about nature and animals, and you know what I mean. And I could just spit
Yeah.
out facts about them all. That's
Yeah, he's the same. That's for sure. Yeah, his summer reading was the Steve Rinella book. Steve Rinella, the meat eater dude, wrote a
oh
book on for kids basically and outdoors. And yeah, he's built every fish club, blow dart guns. He's done every single project in that book.
That's awesome. So Saving Grace Outdoors says, how do you deal with the sun out fishing you all the time?
Oh man, that is tough. That is tough, but you know how it is. Um, Somebody's got to do all the hard work and set them up for success.
River Pigs 423 says, what is your pet peeve during fishing?
My pet peeve is just people that don't understand the fishing etiquette and like, a lot of times it's just ignorance. They don't get it. And that's really frustrating. Like I grew
Yeah.
up with a father that like we would not catch a lot, we would not shoot a lot because we followed every stinking rule and we were too nice to succeed. And then people would come in and do this and it was just like, "Dad, why can't we do that?" And he was a rule follower from day one and big time into that stuff. He taught hunter safety. He was that type of guy.
Um, Aston Card asks, have you ever been busted fishing private property or anything like that?
I don't think so, because again, we follow the stupid rules.
Right.
Um, I think a couple times that they were nicely pointed out that we weren't supposed to be there. Um, we got busted one time for following the rules, and we nicely told the wannabe cop to call the real cops so we could discuss the real rules. And we sat there and waited for the DCNR officer to come out, and he quickly agreed that we did. We were carp fishing, and this lady said, "You're not allowed to have 6 rods out." And I said, "We're allowed 3. These are my 3. These are my son's." And he looked at me like, "Oh, well, my son can't fish because he was too little." I'm like, "Dude, he's like out fishing me over there." Like, "Yeah, they're his
Right.
rods." "Oh, they need to be in immediate control." And I was like, "Well, what defines immediate control?" I'm like, "I've been fishing my
Right.
whole life. I'm telling you, nobody holds a carp rod or a catfish rod." You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So that was my most vocal incident that I've had with anyone in authority. We run into knuckleheads all the time.
Sure. River Pigs, no, sorry. Ancient Art of Fishing asks, would you ever go noodling?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, we would noodle in the right situation. More of a survival instinct. The problem with noodling, a lot of these places they're noodling in, these catfish are there to lay eggs and have babies. So I
Yep.
wouldn't do it in those circumstances. I think that's pay lakeish, to be honest with you. Um,
Right.
I mean, my son noodles sunfish in the winter. We got some shorts out there because sunfish go up on the sides where we are, and they go under these boulders, and you can literally just reach down and grab them. So he will go and do that occasionally. But we like to spear. He likes to spear certain fish occasionally. He likes to shoot the arrows, but our rule is if you shoot anything, you're eating it. So
Cassie Devil asks, shark or stingray?
so far stingray. I mean, we haven't caught a bunch of species of sharks, but if we're talking eating, I'm saying stingray is one of the best fish I've ever eaten. Um, Better than shark, I would say. Um, as far as catching, depends on the size, I guess. I mean, the stingray, you can get them up to 200 pounds, so that's a big stingray.
Yeah, I mean that's a big anything.
Yeah.
Um, here it's just Ed says river, stream, or lake.
I like rivers, streams. Like I spent my hardest efforts fishing for like 10 years. I fished every day. I mean, 16 hours a day. I slept, I was off 8 hours. I wouldn't say I slept 8 hours, but I guided 16 hours a day, two different shifts, 6 hours each with 2 hour in between to get the boats ready and launch again. I did that for almost a decade with maybe, I don't know, 15 days off the whole time. I worked because we flew in we had a Helio float plane to help 3 people. So they bring in 3, take 3 out, bring another 3 in, take the other 3 out. We never had time without guests in our cabins. So it was just constant. And I was all river fishing. So I really enjoyed learning rivers. They're always changing. The fish are always moving. Um, I think it's a lot more challenging. It's a lot more rewarding.
Definitely. What's the? Oh wow, I've been on top messages this whole time. Oh man, hate it when I forget to switch it like that. Have you ever eaten a shark, and if so, is it good?
I ate a shark for dinner. I swear. I put a short out tonight, and that was done 5 minutes after we got done eating that shark. Yeah, we eat a lot of dogfish shark, which is like a fake shark. They don't really have teeth, but they're sharks. And a lot of people call them trash fish, but they're delicious fish if you know how to prepare them. I've eaten dog shark. I've eaten black tip. I've eaten mako. They all taste the same to me. They're all delicious if you know how to prepare them.
I've never eaten shark. I'd like to someday. Um, yeah, the best saltwater fish I ever had was swordfish. That's probably not too,
That's a good one.
but yeah, I liked it. Thought it tastes like steak, actually.
Right. Yep. Yeah. I'm a fishmonger on my part-time job. My other job, I do about 16 hours a week cutting and selling fish. And we have probably about 30 fish in our case. And swordfish is always one of them and is probably the second most expensive cut that's usually there. We have Chilean sea bass is a little more expensive typically. And we have high-end tuna, and then comes the swordfish. Good stuff.
Do we have ancient art? Do we have any brackish lakes in Wisconsin? I'm gonna Google it real quick. I feel like we have a brackish lake in Wisconsin for some reason. I don't know why I think that.
Don't some of the Great Lakes have like salt mines under them? Like they are
Yeah,
ocean
that's what I
based
was thinking.
originally. There's literally salt mines under like Erie or one of them. I know. I can make one if DNR allows me. They will not allow it, at least in Pennsylvania.
Oops.
We got a creek in our yard. God forbid I put a stick in it, divert the waterway. Erie has the huge salt mine. Swordfish and rice. Nice. PA rules. PA, if you Google my, I'm not going to give you my address. If you were to Google my address, you will see a huge lake in my backyard that doesn't exist. It's a creek. So I nicely asked them to make the lake back where it's supposed to be, but I'm the one diverting the waterway. I'm not allowed to do that.
I'm not getting any results. I guess we don't have any saltwater lakes in Wisconsin. Well, Wisconsin definitely has catfish. Oh, he probably means blue catfish, though. Do we have any more questions for any fins possible? I think that's it. I think the chat's out of questions. I'm out of questions. Oh, do you have any you have anything coming up on your channel that you want to promote? Oh, and then do you have any other fishing YouTube channels that you'd like me to reach out to and ask them to do the interview? Anyone you'd like to see on here?
I mean, there's so many good ones. I mean, I'm just trying to think. I mean, Skeeter's a real interesting story to know. Not to blow everything out, but like an army vet with chronic health issues. You know what I mean? Chronic, like
Right.
not good outcome stuff, and he's out here every day.
Yeah,
Um,
I follow Skeeter pretty closely too. I could reach out to him. I don't know
yeah,
why I haven't thought of him yet. Well, I'll occasionally ask someone, but most of the people I've interviewed, I just kind of put out a blanket statement. Hey, if you want to do the interview, send me an email. So
Nolan from Mission Discover would be interesting too, just because he does not come from a fishing family at
okay.
all. He is way too smart to fish. I don't know why he's fishing. Like this kid's a genius, like a legit genius, and he is fascinated with fishing. So that's an interesting character right there.
Nova
And he can
Mission
run a sub.
Discover.
He can run a sub 6 mile too. The kid's got some weird skill levels. Yeah, he's
Interesting.
bizarre. He's really
Say it
bizarre.
again. Nova Mission Discover. Did I say it right?
Mission Discover.
Oh, just Mission Discover.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never heard of him. I'm gonna have to check him out.
Yeah, I've fished with him many times. He's young. He's very young. He
Okay.
just started driving. I used to take him to fishing spots. His mom used to drive separately. We'd take him to Philly overnight for flatheads all night long. And
Oh wow.
I had to like earn his parents' trust, to get to that point.
Right.
He's good. I'm hoping to pair up with him for striper season because he's got a truck, and I want to ruin his truck and take his truck on the beach, not mine, and see if we can chase him. Let him make a big mistake as a
Is it
teenager.
his or is it his parents' truck?
Right, you're right. It's actually his grandfather's truck.
Oh man.
Yeah, I know
Right on.
there's so many awesome channels. But I always think of like the ones that are like that I know. I don't know everyone's backstory. Like
Right.
silly, I didn't know half his backstory, so that was fascinating to hear that. So
Right.
I'm sure there's tons of them, but I just know their two backgrounds just because I personally fished with them before.
Oh, Mission Discover was in here earlier? Right on.
Yeah, he was early on. Yep, he's probably in bed by now because he's got important things to do in the morning.
Ask Happy Hooker Phil. All right, B Driven. I'll put him down. I've seen him around.
Saving Grace would probably be one because I don't know that much about them. I know they moved from Indiana to Florida, and
Yeah.
I fished with them down in the Panhandle when we went to Florida. But I didn't.
Okay.
We only had a couple hours together, so I didn't really get to do any hard hitting questions. But I'm really curious. That's a huge move. The whole family down there. So
Okay. Good stuff, man. Yeah, and I mean this has been one of those things where it was just like kind of a whatever idea, and it's really grown into. I think it's getting really really interesting. Like you get to learn things about fishing, and you never would have thought. You know, like
yeah,
normally they're just fishing, and you're like, yeah, are you catching fish or are you not catching fish? What are we doing here?
right.
You know what I mean?
And that's the
Really
daily
getting to know
chat.
them.
That's the daily chat. Everybody comes in like, how many times do you have to say I caught 3 bluegill, 1 catfish?
Right, right.
What's your biggest fish? That's the other question. Like, what's your biggest fish?
Yeah.
You
No.
catch nothing? Your bait probably fell off. Like, they're the first things you hear, like within 10 minutes of your live. You're like, dude, I just cast it in.
Did you try a Whopper Plopper?
You're right. Yeah, dude, that's where that comes from, by the way. That joke comes from because a dude came into my chat, dead seriously, tell me to use a Whopper Plopper. I was ice fishing. I'm like, dude, I'm ice fishing.
Okay, I've got a Whopper Plopper story for you. I had no clue what a Whopper Plopper was my whole life until about 6 months ago when I started going to these YouTube lives and watching everyone fish, and I kept seeing the comment, "Did you try a Whopper Plopper?" And I was like, I thought it was a joke. I thought this was like a made up thing. You know, I
Yeah.
thought it was some kind of inside joke, and then I find out, oh, it's a real lure. Like it's a, and now because of all that, I've now, and I don't even use lures. I've now bought 3 Whopper Ploppers.
They
So
do work.
I've
I
got them.
absolutely caught some nice smallmouth bass on them, and they're good to target muskie at night because it's top water and it cuts up the water nice. Um, but yeah, ice fishing is probably not the best time to use one.
Well, and actually, I will admit, um, my very first cast with my first ever Whopper Plopper that I bought, a largemouth bass hit it as soon as it hit the water, like very first
Right.
cast. I was like, I guess they do work, don't they? Like I fully thought I was just going to be casting this dumb lure all day, and yeah, nope. Yeah, I did continue to cast for like another 2 hours and caught nothing with it, but did catch
I mean,
fish on the first
it's
cast.
a common lure. I mean, probably have them hanging up. Like I used to turn when I was in high school. I worked part time at a shop, and we turned fishing lures on lathes, wood cedar plugs. A guy whose name was Pearson. He's still a local shop in our area. He's since passed, but his wife and mother still run the place. And we turned propeller blade, big chunk of cedar with a front prop, back prop, and like 3 sets of treble hooks. And that was like the local lure here to catch muskie back when everybody was chasing muskie in this area. They stocked them for a while back in the 90s.
Right on. Yeah, no, I'm an adamant bait and weight guy. I mean, I told you that I'm really lazy. My fishing style reflects that. I like to use a live bait and like put it out there and let it do the work, and I just wait for the fish to bite. But
Yeah.
so I'm not a big lure user, but since starting YouTube, I've been talked into trying it once in a while just for the fans, you know.
Yeah, I hear you.
Um,
Ed had a question. Ed asked me, I want to answer that one question he'd asked, if you don't mind. He wanted to know
yeah,
who my mentor was. I mean, like, I think I touched on it earlier. I grew up in a family that fished. So, like, my mentor was always like I said, I don't even remember when I caught my first fish. It's just what our family always did. So it would have to be my parents. I don't, I think I kind of like my son. Like, I think my son probably knows more than I do at this point already because he's got the time to put into learning new stuff where I'm kind of resting on what I already kind of know or think I know. But he's out there taking that knowledge and like, oh, well, you know what? It would be better if you did that, Dad. And he's usually right. Like today, he had 2 bobbers on it. Everyone's making fun. I'm like, dude, what do you have 2 bobbers on? And he's like, because I throw the first bobber, and he was basically using the second little bobber as an indicator and not knowing anything. He figured it out on his own. He said, because when I cast, that bobber only works when that line settles below it. And he's like, but they're hitting it on the way down. So the second bobber will go like this, and then I set the hook because they hit him on the fall. And like, so that shows that like he's actually thinking through the process, not just like
yeah,
looking on Google website and saying, "Oh, this is what I need." He's figured it
right,
all out. And I was like, man, that's pretty smart. So
absolutely.
I mean, I think so. I definitely grew up in the family like that. And I had a brother, so we kind of fished competitively from an early age. So
Is Lil Finn protesting about going back to school yet?
we don't talk about that, but yeah. So yeah, that's where the striper trip comes in. We bribe him with quarterly trips. So if he,
Oh,
yeah, each quarter we get to go somewhere. So the first trip is a 2 or 3 day long trip where him and I get a hotel with it's in a bad neighborhood, but it's got great fishing. So it's got like 4 deadbolts on the door because it's the only place we can afford. And we walk out to this beach in the middle of this weird town, and the fishing's awesome there in the fall.
right on. What you
Would you
want,
like
Jeremy
to?
Wade's job?
I don't know. I don't really know. I mean, I know who he is, honestly, but no, I
Hey,
think
good
it's a
morning,
lot of
thank
putting
you.
makeup on. I don't know. He's always on camera, so you know what I mean?
I mean, I'm
He's
sure
on
he
that
has some money, probably, right? I'll take the money.
I'll take the money. Yeah. No, I like to be home at night.
Right. Just saying. What I tell you, hour and a half. Yep.
Gotcha. I appreciate you having me on, everybody in chat. Thank you guys very much for watching. Our volume and audio is going to go on us, but I hope to see you guys next week on 50 Show.